So this is Moss Burger in Taiwan. It is a really famous hamburger place, and they have just started serving the Beyond Burger, a vegan option for the first time ever. Actually, they had a mushroom burger, which was great, but nothing like this. So, what are my thoughts about the Beyond Burger versus the Impossible Burger? Well, I've had the Beyond Burger a few times now here in Taiwan, and I had the Impossible Burger for the first time in Singapore a few weeks ago. To me, I think the idea is pretty much the same. I don't really prefer one or the other necessarily. Maybe the Impossible Burger a little bit. I think the Beyond Burger is a little bit salty, at least the ones that I've had. I wish there was less sodium. I don't need all of that salt in my body. And the Impossible Burger seemed like the texture was a little bit better than the Beyond Burger. But honestly, I don't really have that much of a preference. If one was a little bit cheaper than the other, I would probably just choose that one. I will say though, this is not something that I'm kind of obsessing about like I used to. It's funny because when I'm in Taiwan and there's not as many like Western style vegan burgers, there's a lot of more traditional vegetarian burgers, which are good. They're just really carb heavy, and so I don't eat them very often. And I was wishing, like, when is the Beyond Burger gonna come? When is the Impossible Burger gonna come? But now that I've had them a few times, I've like kind of gotten that craving out of me, and now I just want my normal vegetables. Because actually, well seasoned and well prepared vegetables to me are better than the burgers. Although I get the desire to have burgers, because sometimes I have like that weird craving too to get a burger. And we have actually, there's in the past year there's been a ton of vegan burger shops popping up all over Taipei, which is great. But I don't need to eat that more than once a week, I think, or not even once a week, maybe a couple times a month at most, because I feel like that's still not as healthy as me just eating, well prepared, like, plants. But like I said, sometimes I do get weird cravings, and the worst, what I think is even worst for me is probably eating French fries, which I've tried to cut out eating French fries, and I've replaced it with like fried tofu, which I'm afraid to look at if that's as bad for me as I feel like it is every time I eat it. Because like I just had a giant thing of stinky fried tofu, and my stomach is kind of like feels so full, like kind of. And I also had the Beyond Burger today, so that's probably part of it. Like, I've been eating way too much crazy stuff. Plus I had like a ton of vegetables. Like I have a we call it a bindang. It's like a box of vegetables with rice, but it's so good, it's so seasoned so well, and it's like this really nice auntie who prepares it for me, and she's so sweet, and it's really really cheap. It's like a couple dollars, and honestly, I'd rather have that than Beyond Burger most days. But sometimes I want to switch it up and get that craving out of me just as long as I'm like trying to skip the fries. And so like for the past couple of weeks, I've gotten rid of that desire. I haven't really succumbed to it, but I've replaced it with slightly healthier fried tofu. I don't know. So I don't know what everybody else thinks about Beyond Burger versus Impossible Burger. I think they're pretty much the same thing. I'm so glad they exist. It's not really my thing, I've decided. But I will occasionally eat it, and I'm like gonna push my friends to eat that as much as possible and like show them that you can get the same like texture and taste and all this. Like, you don't have to eat regular meat. You can eat plant-based meat, and it's healthier for you. um and like I don't feel as gross as I used to when I would eat burgers. Like, I always felt nasty about eating burgers, and I actually stopped eating red meat way before I even became a vegetarian because I just felt so gross every time I would eat a hamburger. Um, so I don't really feel that anymore with like a Beyond Burger, but I don't feel as good as I do when I'm just eating like straight up plants. So I think there's like a spectrum, and almost no burger is gonna be like the healthiest thing for you to eat. So anyway, let me know what you think of Impossible Burger versus Beyond Burger. If there's a difference, if one's healthier than the other, I don't really know. I think Impossible has like the Him iron, which is kind of cool. Um, so yeah, let me know what you think. And if you have questions about other like foods that are in Taiwan, let me know in a comment.